Welcome into Anita On The Rail. I'm Anita Marks, and we are previewing all the action that's coming your way, or at least the big action. And that's the Jim Dandy this week up at Saratoga Racetrack, of course. We're collaborating with America's Best Racing. Make sure you check them out on all their platforms, really where you get the best information all about the sport of horse racing. And we want to thank our sponsors. This show brought to you by Henry Street Tap Room. Some of the best beer you can get in Saratoga, that's for sure. An outdoor patio, as well as Kindred, which is a fantastic, very upscale wine cocktail bar. Their food is unbelievable. They've got outside patios, and the weather up in Saratoga has just been so fantastic. And both establishments are located right on Henry Street. So again, ABR, America's Best Racing, Henry Street Tap Room, Kindred, and the NY Thoroughbred Breeders, Inc. It's the official authorized membership organization of thoroughbred breeding in New York State. Also, registration is open for your summer events. Make sure you check them out at nytbreeders.org/events. A barbecue is happening on August 7th and track day at the paddock on August 8th. So make sure you mark your calendars for that. Without further ado, again, this week, the big race on Saturday is the Jim Dandy. And we've got two handicappers who are going to be joining us to break it all down. Ryan Anderson from ABR, Mike DiLorenzo from GiddyUp Bets. So let's bring in the man of the hour. And of course, this is brought to you by Henry Street Tap Room and Kindred. And that is Ryan Anderson from ABR. All right, so here is the man, Ryan Anderson. You can see him all over America's Best Racing. Week 2, and had a great week 1. Hopefully we help the folks out there win some money. This week, it's all about the Jim Dandy, presented by the Mohegan Sun. It's race number 12, grade 2, $500,000 is the purse, 9 furlong test for the sophomores. The final major stepping stone to the 1.25 million Travers on August 23rd. So that's exciting. The post time is at 5:41. So before we get your picks, let's break down each and every horse. And we only have 5, so it won't take that long. Let's go with the horse number 1. That's Baeza, 6-1. Of course, we know came in 3rd in the Belmont Stakes as well as the Kentucky Derby. This West Coast stud of a horse. What do you like about him?
Yeah, Baeza is very talented. Obviously familiar with him being, having his start out on the West Coast. Obviously, we've talked about this horse being out of the dam Puka, who is, has foaled Mage and Dornoch, who are also classic winners. Baeza is kind of waiting for his right time. He ran into a couple monsters in the names of Sovereignty and Journalism as the 3-year-olds, and he's run 3rd behind them twice in both of the classic races he's run in so far in the Kentucky Derby and the Belmont Derby. So he runs into Sovereignty again in this spot. It might be a situation where he's just kind of just a tier below, the A+ that Sovereignty and Journalism are.
Then we've got horse number 2, Sandman, everybody's favorite because, boy, is he handsome. 3rd in the Preakness, 7th in the Kentucky Derby. Again, a beautiful gray colt. Father is Tappet. What can you tell us about Sandman that you like?
Yeah, he needs a lot of pace. Very talented horse. Feels like a horse that might come along as a 4-year-old going into next year. We've seen a lot of these Tappets get better as they get older, and obviously they're better the farther that they go. Sandman runs into a 5-horse field here. He's going to really need some pace, or blinkers on in this spot. Maybe that gets him a little bit closer to the action, but I think he normally is pretty pace dependent. Not sure if he's going to get that here.
And then the 3-horse Moplex, 5-1, first in the Ohio Derby, has won at Saratoga twice. And a big shout out, our sponsor, NY Thoroughbred Breeders. This one is representing in this race a New York bred horse here trying to win the Jim Dandy. What do you like about Moplex?
Yeah, Moplex is very talented. He really had a coming out party last time in the mile and 1/8 Ohio Derby. He's not really bred to love this 2-turn distance, being out by complexity. that doesn't really scream 2 turns, but he handled it with ease last time. He beat Chunk of Gold, who ran in the Derby. He beat McAfee, who's a pretty highly thought of 3-year-old out of the Rick Dutrow barn. Second off the layoff here, going the mile and an eighth. I mentioned there's not a whole lot of speed. That might play into Moplex's advantage. I think Moplex can take the front early and take them a long way. I have this horse rounding out some exactas and some trifectas as we go here, just because I think the pace scenario is going to favor Moplex.
The 4-horse Hill Road, Chad Brown, of course, is his trainer. Irad will be his jockey. Came in 4th in the Belmont Stakes and won the Peter Pan. What can you tell us about the 4, Ryan?
Yeah, this horse reminds me of a Chad Brown trainee from last year who's still in training named Sierra Leone. Kind of a deep closer who has just never quite gotten that pace set up. He loves all these distances, especially the mile and a quarter. This race is a mile and an eighth. I think it's a little too short for him. I think it's just kind of a tune-up move. Looking forward to the Travers. So I'm not going to be playing this one in this spot, but this is one I think can definitely take a step forward the farther he goes and the more pace that's in the race.
And then, of course, Sovereignty. A lot of people, I believe, are going to have their money on him, winner of the Belmont Stakes. Is he the horse to beat in the 5 spot?
Yeah, no doubt. He could run his B race, and I still think he's just flat out more talented. He is a very special 3-year-old. I'm a big fan of journalism. I love the way that he's been campaigned, but Sovereignty, he's picked his spots very carefully. Obviously, Bill Mott has picked this horse's spots very carefully. This is a clear prep move for the Travers, and we've seen before in the Fountain of Youth down at Gulfstream Park, that was a prep move to go into the Florida Derby, but Sovereignty was so good that he ended up winning that race, and then they had to kind of dial back for the Florida Derby, where he just finished second because they didn't want to, crank him up too soon. I think Bill Mott has a really good handle on this horse, and he keeps getting better, which is terrifying if you're a 3-year-old or older, because he keeps getting better, and I don't think he's going to be fully cranked for this race, obviously, but we've seen him be a little bit closer to the pace, and I just think he's so much better than a lot of these. He should roll here, and it should just be a paid workout.
All right. As always, I like to say, take us to the window, Ryan. How are you playing it?
Yeah, nothing too creative. I mentioned my love for Moplex a little bit because of the pace, so I'm just going to play a straight trifecta. It's going to be Sovereignty over Baeza over Moplex. I'll play that, a good handful of times, but I'm not going to try and get too creative here. I think Moplex is going to hang on for 3rd because I think the pace is going to favor him over runners like Hill Road and Sandman. You have Baeza, who I think is clearly just in that second crop, that second level of 3-year-olds, and then obviously the big dog Sovereignty, who should just roll over this field because, again, he's just better. He knows his job, and we're in his backyard at Saratoga.
Again, that's the big race coming your way on Saturday, but the card is attractive this week, so let's talk about it. Some other races, the Grade 3 Lake George Stakes. It's race number 9, 5 o'clock is post time, 3-year-old fillies. It's on turf over 1 mile. Who do you like in this race?
Yeah, I'm going to take what I hope is a bit of a price in Princess Attitude, who should be, I believe, the number 6 horse. I'm not sure. I don't have the post positions out quite yet.
No, it is. Yes, the number 6.
Perfect guess. Vicky Oliver can have these horses ready for a spot like this. This horse has been working excellent down at Keeneland. Vicky Oliver ships this one up here. This one is by Frankel. Should handle this turf no problem and has in the past, finishing 2nd in the Tepin Stakes. Ran 3rd at Pimlico during Preakness weekend, and that was an absolute bog that they were running over on that turf course with the amount of rain that they had gotten. So I'm willing to excuse that, but that was still a really strong effort, as obviously the Frankels have handled that off turf no problem. This one has some tactical speed. Junior Alvarado is aboard, who of course is the jockey for Sovereignty as well. Alvarado's been riding with a lot of confidence, and rightfully so. Having a horse like that, like Sovereignty, is going to build that confidence. He's been giving excellent rides for all trainers pretty much since the year began. So I'm looking for Princess Attitude to just sit a nice trip. There's a couple deserving favorites in here, but I do think that if Princess Attitude takes a step forward, she's going to be a big threat. My main concern is Classic Q for Mark Cassie. Very much a speedball type. Should be up on the lead, maybe by herself. So that's a little cause for concern. But I think Princess Attitude can sit a nice trip and hopefully get first jump on all the deep closers.
Again, New York Thoroughbred Breeders, Inc., big sponsor of our program, the official authorized membership organization of thoroughbred breeding industry in New York State. So let's take a look at some of the New York bred horses and who are going to be strutting their stuff. Let's take a look at race number 6, which is a New York bred allowance race, 1 1/16 mile. It's on turf, fillies and mares, 3 years and older. Turf time, post time is at 3:17 p.m. So what New York bred horse are you fancying in this race, Ryan?
Yeah, this is my my long shot play of the day. Race 6, New York bred Sail with the Wind, who I believe is number 5. There's a coupled entries to get by, but Jeremiah Engelhart and Katie Davis are going to team up here. This runner has run really well on all of her turf starts, going the 2-turn distance. I'll excuse the maiden effort where she was running over a yielding track up at Saratoga, but the other 3 efforts certainly fit. It looks like she's going to get a favorable turf course in firm conditions. The weather looks good, so as long as it stays that way, I think Sail with the Wind could run a big shot. She should be a big price. I'm going to use her in 2nd and 3rd in some trifectas to kind of spice things up, but I like those 2 paired up buyer speed figures of the 73. She didn't get a whole lot of pace to chase. I think Katie Davis can be a little bit aggressive out of the gate, get this mare more forward and sit a good trip and just hope to hang on for a piece of it, and I wouldn't be surprised if she took the whole thing.
And staying in that New York state of mind, no pun intended, race number 11, New York bred maiden race. Who do you like in this one?
Yeah, I'm going to stay on the rail. It's going to be Off Script, who I believe is going to be the number 2, maybe number 3 in here. There's a bunch of coupled entries, and I don't have the numbers yet. But Off Script, it's going to be the rail horse. Irad Ortiz, William Walden team up. This horse has every reason to move up, trying the turf and trying 2 turns for the first time. Firstly, Irad and William Walden are 50% from 12 starters over the past year, and you're looking at a $3.38 ROI, so you're making money if you're just betting this combination just off of them showing up together. But Off Script is bred to like the turf. The Dam was a turf router and has produced some good turf horses. Last time out, there was a sloppy effort over the Indiana dirt track over a sloppy sealed surface. That was sprinting. This is going long. I know by Instagram you typically kind of think 1 turn, but I think this one can definitely handle 2 turns in this one's first time out. Second off the bench for Will Walden. And again, him and Irad fire like nobody's business. So they're very successful when they team up together. So I'm looking forward to betting Off Script. I hope the price isn't affected too much by everybody loving to bet Irad.
Ryan Anderson joining us from ABR, and last week we went off script or off track. Of course, this is a Saratoga horse racing preview show for the big races on Saturday, but you're out on the left coast. You're going to be at Del Mar. Bing Crosby, grade 1 races there. 6 furlongs, a lot of speed demons. I'm sure that race is going to be televised. A lot of people in Saratoga are going to be watching it and can wager on it as well. Who do you like in that race?
Yeah, it always comes up a good race. I was, after watching Raging Torrent beat a bunch of really nice horses in the Met Mile, I was hoping that we'd see him in this spot. Unfortunately, he's been retired, so that as one of my favorite horses. I'm sad I won't get to see, but he retired a happy horse. He retired healthy, so that's all you can really ask for. So I'm going to go with Madaket Road. They haven't officially drawn this field yet. However, he looks like one of the probable entries. Madaket Road, trained by Bob Baffert. Most likely going to be ridden by Flavian Pratt or Juan Hernandez, as I know Flavian is out in San Diego at Del Mar on Saturday. I'm going to look for Madaket Road. Coming out of the Woody Stevens, where he ran a really nice effort to hang on for, I believe it was 3rd place in that try. Ran really well. He comes back home. He's really matured well in his 3-year-old season. You have some other horses that are going to show up, like World Record, who's trained by Rudy Brissett, who's a very capable horse in their own right. You have a horse like Dr. Venkman, who I think can be at his best sprinting, but I'm going to take Madaket Road, assuming he draws the post position well. And again, I don't have the official field, so if some other really nice horses show up, I'm going to have to take a second look.
Great stuff as always, Ryan. Really do appreciate you. Good luck on Saturday, and we'll see you next week.
Absolutely. Thank you, Anita.
NYTB membership is your inside track to the ultimate New York thoroughbred racing experience. Free race day entrance to Belmont, Saratoga, Aqueduct, and Finger Lakes. A liaison with NYS Breeding and Development Fund. A voice in Albany working with legislators to help support the New York breeding and racing industries. Along with tons of member benefits, discounts on services and publications, educational programs, and so much more. Join today at nytbreeders.org/membership.
All right, I want to thank Ryan Anderson from ABR. Don't forget, we have Mark DiLorenzo from GiddyUp Bets coming your way momentarily, but let's take a minute to talk about our sponsors. And they are up there in Saratoga. You're making your trip up there. This is where you want to go, and that is Kindred. Stellar wine list, outstanding handcrafted cocktails. Their food is out of this world. Might have the best food of any establishments up there in Saratoga. Their chefs create dishes from scratch each and every day, wood-fired kitchen. What I love about them, they've got this wonderful, beautiful outdoor patio, large garage-style doors, and the weather is going to be nice. It's been nice up in Saratoga, so head up there. Take this in. They've got a terrific staff. And then right next door, Henry Street Tap Room. That's right. The best beer list in town. High-end comfort food, terrific staff. Listen, this has been a staple up in Saratoga since 2012. They as well have an outdoor patio and a great cheese list. As I like to say, a little malt and mold will do you right. And of course, if you're up there on Tuesday, they have dollar oysters every Tuesday. So make sure you check them out. As well, the New York Thoroughbred Breeders, Inc. They are the official authorized membership organization of the thoroughbred breeding industry in New York State. There's no better time to breed in New York with the current strength of the New York bred program, including equal purses for New York breds and open company horses on the NYRA circuit starting the new bred 2-year-olds in 2026. So stay tuned for that season. It's going to be a fun one. For more information, including exclusive membership benefits and discounts for being an NYTB member, you want to visit nytbreeders.org/memberships. And also, registration is open for some summer events, nytbreeders.org/events. A fun barbecue happening on August 7th. And of course, at the track, they have track day at the paddock on August 8th. So make sure you head out there for those events. Without further ado, bringing you Mark DiLorenzo from GiddyUp Bets with his analysis and his picks and plays. Again, brought to you by Henry Street Tap Room and Kindred. Let's bring in Mark. Mark DiLorenzo, GiddyUp Bets, is joining us live from the track. Dude, look at you. How cool is that? Oh, man. Man, talk about living vicariously through you. That's awesome. How you doing, man?
Cool. Excellent. It's a beautiful day here at Saratoga Racetrack. It's always beautiful to be in Saratoga, but when you get a nice weather day, it's even better. So Jim Dandy week is upon us, and today is a pick six carryover. So hopefully we hit the pick six today. Have a few bucks to carry into Jim Dandy Day on Saturday.
There you go. And I'm hearing the weather's supposed to be really nice on Saturday for the Jim Dandy as well. I know you moonlight as a meteorologist, so can you confirm?
Yeah, I'd say there's about a 70% chance of it being perfect, 20% chance of it being cloudy, 10% chance of who knows what would happen, because that's kind of always the 10% chance of Saratoga. You sit kind of on the cusp of the cold air on the Arctic and the warm air in the south, and you're right in the capital region area, and you could always get a thunderstorm. So, but we should be okay for the weekend. It looks like it's going to be fast, firm, great racing ahead. Should be a great weekend.
All right, so let's dive into it. The Jim Dandy, again, presented by Mohegan Sun, race number 12. As we know, is the major stepping stone to get into the Travers with that $1.25 million purse. Post time is at 5:41. Is Sovereignty the horse to beat here? I know there's only 5, but really, is he it?
Yeah, Sovereignty showed me that he's the best 3-year-old by far after kicking on like he did in the Belmont Stakes. You saw something in Sovereignty coming down the stretch in the Belmont Stakes, which you just don't naturally see from a dirt horse going 10 furlongs, is kind of an acceleration down the stretch like a turf horse. So a dirt horse will usually use a lot of its energy early to get into position, they'll make a move or they'll make one big close. But for a horse to sit forward like he did for the first time, sit in a decent trip, and then kind of just kick on like a turf horse and go right past journalism the way he did, he's going to need to take a big step backwards to not, to not win here in the Jim Dandy. There would be a few hesitations for me, kind of leaning into him at 1-5, which he's probably going to be. And the number one hesitation would kind of be, this is the prep race. Like you just made a point to that. This is the prep race into the Travers. Bill Mott used the Florida Derby as a prep race into the Kentucky Derby. The Travers is the Midsummer Derby. So is he using this as a prep race? But being here in Saratoga, I haven't really left here since the Belmont Stakes that was held in Saratoga. And I've seen Sovereignty train a bunch of times. I've seen him in the barn, and I'm speaking to people on the backstretch. He's just as strong, just as big, just as fast as he was the first weekend of June. So I'm expecting Sovereignty to be very, very tough to beat. And like I say, when I find a horse that I feel is going to be very tough to beat as a favorite, I won't box around, especially in a 5-horse race. I'll use one horse on top, single, and that'll be Sovereignty. And then underneath, I have a couple different opinions. And then I also have a double that I'm going to play Sovereignty into into two horses that I like in the New York bred race. The New York bred turf race in race 11 is very, very interesting. It's probably one of the best races of the day.
Well, before we get to that, we had Ryan Anderson from ABR on just a second ago, and he's all about Moplex, the third horse in the Jim Dandy. Won the Ohio Derby, has done well on this track. Any thoughts on using Moplex in any type of exotic bets?
Yeah, Moplex is a New York bred, won the Ohio Derby by stalking and didn't sit the best trip last time. This is by far going to be his toughest test. And this is today. I like to say that Saturday would be the day to find out what he has, how much upside is there. One of you always trying to put together these races as a puzzle. And the puzzle to me in the Jim Dandy is going to be the pace. And Moplex looks like he's going to be on the lead without getting much pressure. But hearing from a few people and seeing Hector Berrios back on Baeza, I'm expecting Baeza to show more speed in the Jim Dandy after being a disappointing third in the Belmont Stakes. So I'm not expecting Moplex to have it that easy on the lead, though it should make the lead around the first turn somewhat easy. But he's going to have to hold off horses that he's never seen the likes of. And Sovereignty is something special, and if there was going to be a horse that I would choose to win over Sovereignty, I think Moplex would probably be my second choice to win. I don't necessarily believe that he would be my second choice to finish second, just because he is going the furthest that he has ever gone. He looks a little bit more of a sprinter to me, and he could take a little bit of pressure from Baeza in this race, I believe.
So as always, you know what I like to say, take us to the window. Exactly how are you playing it?
I'm going to play Sovereignty on top in an exacta, and underneath I'm going to use number 2, Sandman, who's putting blinkers on, who I didn't want any part of in the Preakness or in the Kentucky Derby. The Kentucky Derby, I just felt his running style and having such a large field really didn't mix with that horse. There's just there could be too many things that can happen to get in the way and for him to not sit the best of trips. And that's kind of what happened. And then when that happens to a horse, they rolled into the Preakness, they rolled back in 2 weeks, and he didn't run great. There were a couple horses that outran him in there, but I thought that he was wheeling back a little quick, and there's more talent there than we saw. I've been waiting a couple of months now for them to add blinkers to this horse. So that's what's really interesting to me. This is a horse that wants to come from far back. I don't mind a closer in a small field because he's going to be able to kind of sit his trip, time the trip at the right, kind of make his move at the right time. Jose Ortiz is one of the best in the business at doing that. Adding blinkers means to me there is a lot of upside potential. Maybe the horse is just a horse and maybe finishes third or fourth and doesn't beat Sovereignty, but I think Sovereignty is the best horse in the race. I think that he's probably going to sit forward close to Moplex and Baeza, kind of take control of the field, and then Sandman's going to he could hit a different gear with blinkers on and finish second. So I'm going to go Sovereignty on top of Sandman and exacta 5-2.
There you go. Before we let you go, talking about a New York bred horse. Let's talk about a New York bred race, and that's race number 11. Big shout out to New York Thoroughbred Breeders, Inc., big sponsors of our program, nytbreeders.org/memberships to find out more information. Who do you like in race 11?
So the New York bred turf races up here are some of the best betting races year in and year out. They're some of the best horses to own. They're some of the best horses to be a part of. I love the New York bred program. I always say that in order to have success at Saratoga, you need to know the New York bred horses, backwards and forwards. And that's one of the advantages I try to give out with GiddyUpBets.com. There's going to be 2 horses I'm going to play in a double with Sovereignty, and there's 2 horses I'm going to use on pick 3s, exactas, trifectas, and keeping it very simple. I'm going to use the horse that's going to be all the way on down on the rail that's never been on the turf before. And I'm going to use the horse that's all the way on the outside that's never run before. And the horse that's on the rail off script, new trainer is William Walden. It was with Chad Brown last year. You would think Chad Brown would probably enter this horse in a turf race already because the pedigree of this horse is very turf. But I think that they thought that they had a special horse that ran a couple of really nice maiden races and just decided to stay dirt. The new trainer is now Will Walden. Elliot Walden's son is having a lot of success. I think he's one of the new up-and-coming stars in the game as a trainer. He's putting this horse on turf. I think turf is the preferred surface. And when you have a horse that's never run on turf before, you always create a little bit of value there. So off script, who's going to be down on the rail, would be my kind of first choice, one of my A's. My other A would be all the way on the outside, a Michelle Nevin trained horse, Starship Pegasus. This horse is a half to Spirit of St. Louis, who won the Pegasus World Cup Turf back at Gulfstream back in January. It's a half to Bar of Gold, who was a graded stakes winner for Michelle Nevin. I've seen this horse train a few times on the turf at Saratoga over the course of July. It has some talent. The issue is that it's going to be drawn all the way on the outside, and that's a very tough thing to do first time out. But it's a 3-year-old filly. It should have some maturity to it, and you're going to get a good price with that post all the way on the outside. So those are kind of my 2 in race 11 that I'm going to use in exactas, trifectas. Might bet one of them to win if I get a big price on Starship Pegasus for the one on the inside, and I'll use in doubles with Sovereignty, and maybe even with a little bit of Sandman too, just in case I get 5-6 to 1 there with those 2 horses in the New York bred race 11 at Saratoga.
Ryan is on off script as well. Mark, before we let you go, why don't you let the folks know as we get closer to race time, you're going to have a plethora of information. Where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find me at GiddyUpBets.com. Provide daily information to people throughout the meet here at Saratoga. Trip notes, bias charted, pace projection, some backstretch information that not everybody might not know about. So we try to have some fun with it. It's been a pretty good meet so far. We look to continue to put in the work. Press and print money, as I like to say. And we just try to enjoy every day as we can. And there's no better place than Saratoga. So giddy up.
You print money, as I like to say. Mama always needs a new pair of shoes. Mark, we always appreciate you joining us on the program, my friend. Enjoy your day at the track, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, Anita. We'll miss you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So great. All right, again, I want to thank Ryan Anderson from America's Best Racing. I want to thank America's Best Racing as well, collaborating with us to get you all the best information, getting you ready for the Jim Dandy, presented by Mohegan Sun, coming your way this Saturday. And, of course, Mark DiLorenzo from GiddyUp Bets. We're going to be with you each and every week. So next week, it's the Whitney. We're going to preview that for you. August 9th, Saratoga Oaks Invitational. August 16th, the Alabama. And then August 23rd, the Travers Day, that's a big one as we know, and August 30th as well, Spinaway. So we've got a lot more handicapping coming your way. Make sure you tune in and follow us, subscribe, like, comment each and every week. You'll see our shows live on Thursday, and of course, they'll be up for you to view all the way through Saturday's action, so make sure you do that. And again, just a really big shout out to our sponsors. Henry Street Tap Room, again, the best beer in Saratoga, as well as Kindred Saratoga. A really fantastic fine dining experience with unbelievable wine lists, cocktails, amazing food, and New York Thoroughbred Breeders, Inc. Again, just a reminder to check them out. Make sure you go to nytbreeders.org/memberships. Again, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. Have a fun day on the track on Saturday, and we'll see you next week.